Today we're going to be going over some fragrances designed to smell good and get you compliments. Simple as that. This first one is Davidoff Cool Water Wave, coming in at an eau de toilette concentration for about $20. You know, typically these cool waters are pretty affordable, and while there are quite a few to choose from, though some have been discontinued, a Cool Water Wave is one that you could still pick up for that good price. That is just a really solid overall scent, generally leaning towards warmer weather, spring and summer. Could work anytime. It's got sea notes, juniper berries, some grapefruit in here, some other citrus as well, but those are kind of the general notes, the ones that you pick up on the most. Smells wonderful. It's going to remind you of some things though. Maybe a little bit of Invictus Aqua, Rassasi Hawas DNA with a twist, a little bit more aquatic, a little bit of that OG cool water smell. So some of the oceanic kind of green notes that you get from the original cool water, but just with a bit of a twist. Maybe a bit of a younger, a little bit more playful twist, I guess is how you could put it. This one is just irresistible. I mean, it smells fantastic. Fresh, citrusy, bright, a little bit of a fruity kick as well, and just a hint of a sweetness. It's pretty much a no-brainer. You know, works great for casual wear in the spring and summer months. I mean, people are really gonna like how this one smells. You can't go wrong with it. It's a very safe option. Most of these in this video, pretty much all of them, are gonna be safe options. That's why they're all great compliment pullers. This next one is around $40 to $45. It is Montblanc Explorer, and it probably doesn't need much of an introduction because, you know, it's pretty popular because it's a Creed Aventus clone. One of many, of course. And if anybody's been around, most of you have been around in the community long enough to realize that Aventus is one of the most cloned fragrances ever, pretty much. There are so many. And that leads me to my next point. Put in any Aventus clone that you want. If you have others that you prefer, you know, they could be in this video instead. And do I have others that I prefer? Probably. You know, one of my favorites when we're talking about still staying somewhat affordable is Club de Nuit Intense Man Parfum. Either the Parfum or the limited edition Parfum. Kind of a coin flip for the most part. Club de Nuit Intense Man EDT and EDP are fantastic as well, but if I'm picking favorites, it's going to be one of the Parfums. So you're probably asking, why isn't that in this video instead? What I love so much about Montblanc Explorer is the accessibility side of things. It's one that can be tried in stores, can be purchased in stores, although I advise against it. I wouldn't pay retail for it because you can get it for less than half the retail price. But it's just, it is easier to get your hands on and try in person first if you're unsure about it. You can't go out and sample the clones, right? You can't find any of those in stores, really. And, you know, even Aventus, right? I don't know, I've never really visited any Creed boutique stores. If you got them near you, you can try Aventus, I suppose, in person, and then they might sit there and hound you and try to get you to buy a full bottle at retail. I wouldn't do that either. So it's just a really safe way to try and get your hands on that Aventus smell by going into any Macy's, Sephora, and just trying it, you know, explore just on a tester strip or something, and you know, then you'll have an understanding, and then you can go home and buy it at 40 bucks. But this DNA is proven to work. Simply as that, right? It's been out since 2010, this DNA, this smell, and over the past, you know, 15 years, it has pretty much become one of the most complimented men's fragrances ever. And it still probably holds that title. You know, it got there pretty quick, I would say, at least in terms of starting to get hype. Well, I don't know, maybe it took, I don't know, 5-6 years maybe for it to really start to build. I don't know for sure, but I digress. Neither here nor there. This stuff works well. You can't go wrong with it. Most people around you are going to love it. And you'll find that the quality of compliments that you get from this DNA exceeds that of a lot of the others. You know, it's not necessarily uncommon to get a, hey, you smell nice. But this type of smell is the type of thing that conjures up those wow reactions where people are like, hey, I've got to stop you and ask, what are you wearing? I want to get it for myself or for somebody in my life. That's what this type of stuff does. We're going to stick with that same price point here with Rabanne Black XS. It's got citruses, lemon, praline, some patchouli in here. Very sweet, very, very sweet from that praline. The citrus gives it a bit of a balance, but still kind of maintains that sweetness. A little bit sour too from that citrus off the opening, which is something that I like about this one. That's a little bit different. And you know what though? It smells nice. It might be an easy one to kind of dismiss or kind of hate on because it is a Paco Rabanne or just a Rabanne these days. And generally their offerings are viewed as a little bit more basic and mainstream or whatever it may be. But as far as meeting the criteria for this video, Black XS does that perfectly. And another thing that I didn't really touch on too much, but performance is going to play somewhat of a factor in this as well. You typically will get better luck and better results from a scent that does perform well, and this one does. It's something people are going to be able to smell on you all day long. And this one, again, is at a great price. Now, this next one is following one of the new style trends, and that really is just aromatics, fresh, woody, aromatic style scent. It's just kind of in right now. A lot of brands are doing it, and I like it. It's kind of a little bit of a change of pace. Instead of getting iris or straight up blue ambroxan, at least we're getting something with maybe a little bit more of a slightly refined, mature take, depending on the scent and how they're doing it, of course. But it is Ralph's Club Parfum. Got lavender, apple, clary sage, and vetiver. Stuff smells great. Really nothing to dislike about it, other than some people might claim that it's a bit boring and familiar, and that's, I guess, a fair point, up to personal opinion. But as far as doing what we're after in this video, man, simply just works. It smells wonderful. Now, at this point, we have the Elixir, and of course, there's the original EDP. There's the Eau de Toilette fresh version as well, which is really good, better than you might expect. I think that you are better off with the flankers. It's not that the original Eau de Parfum is bad. It isn't. It's a great scent. But if you don't have any of them and you're wanting to get one, go for the Parfum, go for the Elixir, one of the two, maybe even the Eau de Toilette. But I would probably start with the Parfum or the Elixir. The Elixir is going to be more expensive, and it's a 75 ml bottle. This Parfum, it's a 100 ml bottle, and it's discounted now, at least compared to retail price. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I know you're not paying retail for it anymore. It's a nice performer. Again, something that's just easygoing, nice head turner. It's fresh, and so it's something that a lot of people can connect with. And you really just can't go wrong with something like this. Now, this next one is really, really good as well, and it's a bit different, kind of a change of pace a little bit here. It's Valentino Uomo Born in Roma Eau de Parfum Intense. It's got vanilla, lavender, and vetiver. See if we can get that back in focus again. They're moving along pretty good with these flankers. Quite a few that are starting to pop up now. Green Stravaganza is really nice, but I think this one is a better fit for this video overall. Not everybody likes coffee, and while I think that one still does have plenty of mass appeal to it, could be a little bit more of a quote-unquote risk, I guess. This one, though, I don't really see that being the case. I mean, sweet, lavender, and kind of woody is what you get. And smells wonderful. It's so much better than what I initially thought it would be. And a lot better than the pre-existing ones within this line. Coral Fantasy, the original Born in Roma, I think this one is better. Now, I definitely wouldn't say it's better than Uomo Intense or the original Valentino Uomo or anything like that. But as far as this Born in Roma line, this stuff is really nice. And while I like Green Stravaganza, again, I already mentioned it, smells great, nice coffee note. This one is going to work better for this type of video and just this type of objective, which is just mass appeal, reaching and appealing to as many people as possible. At this point, this one has worked its way down to under $100 for 100 ml. So, it's getting to be where it's not completely breaking the bank and you're not stuck paying full retail for it. Check it out. Really nice stuff. Nice bottle too. Not that it matters a ton, but some of you guys might care about it. I like a good presentation. Nice gradient to this one. Definitely a good one. Okay, next up we have a big old bottle of Tumi Continuum. This thing's ridiculous. 200 ml, completely unnecessary. I don't know why I did it. Again, must have just been a good deal, I guess, because a 100 ml bottle will last me forever. But yeah, if you've ever wondered what a 200 looks like, this is it. It's huge, very, very heavy, thick glass. That's one thing, these presentations, top-notch, solid, and custom. Really cool cap as well on these. And, obviously the cap is bigger than the 100 ml bottles. At least I think it's got to be, right? So I mean, they've got quite a bit of custom manufacturing into making these, and at this point on discounters, they're pretty affordable now. At retail, different story kind of, but now they're getting to be pretty readily available. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg on these. You're typically looking at mid-range, maybe 50, 60, somewhere in there, usually for the 100 ml. It's got amber, suede, tobacco, and olibanum. Real nice, smooth, high quality tobacco scent. I love tobacco fragrances, and this, don't let it scare you. You know, it doesn't smell like a cigarette or something like that. It's just a nice, refined, smooth, kind of sweet tobacco note. Think more along the lines of Dolce & Gabbana The One. This doesn't smell like Dolce & Gabbana The One, but the type of tobacco and the way that it's used and delivered is similar, where it's still very broad, very mass appealing, even though tobacco, when you think about it, it sounds kind of counterintuitive. It's not the case here. I mean, look at Dolce & Gabbana The One, right? One of the most complimented men's fragrances as well. Also very popular. Uses a lot of tobacco. You don't really have an issue with it, and it's kind of the same here. Now, this one might be a step more unique and a little bit more full-bodied than the one, but you get my point. Great quality out of this one, great performance, something that's a little bit more warm, inviting, and maybe a bit more mysterious, you know, something that you might like for an evening out or something in the cooler times of the year. Let's go for something pretty affordable. It's got Ferragamo Uomo, usually around $30 to $35, maybe $40. It's got a really nice tiramisu note, dessert-like, gourmand, chocolatey with a bit of a coffee note, and then some ambroxan off the top as well to kind of give it a bright kick off the opening to start things out. Definitely very popular, right? Nothing new here, but for the price, it's unbeatable, especially because with that low price and that compliment factor comes great performance. And that's not quite as common, you know, typically scents in this price range usually sometimes will be a bit weaker. Not the case at all with this. Very strong, a little bit goes a long way. And I will issue this warning, which I have before, but it could be too sweet for some, you know, so I think if you're someone who personally doesn't like overly sweet fragrances, it's just a bit too much for you, then I would not go with this, and I would explore some of the other options in here. At the end of the day, you know, if you're choosing something that you want to be a good compliment getter, generally it's nice that you like the smell as well, because you're going to be wearing it, you're going to be smelling it all day long, you might as well enjoy it. So when you hear something like this or any of these get hyped up being great compliment pullers, there are other options. So if you don't like it, you know, don't beat yourself up for it and you know, feel like you have to wear it or whatever. You know, there are other options to explore. So if you want fresh, we've got those. So something to keep in mind. Don't force yourself into wearing something just because. This next one is sweet too, but not nearly as sweet, and actually has kind of a slight weird menthol minty freshness off the opening. I'm sure that gave it away. You guys are typing, but it might not be what you think. It's haramain Detour Noir. And I'm sure you were thinking of Leighton, which this smells pretty much exactly like Leighton, except that this is $20 and Leighton is usually around $200 or something. There was a really weird change with Parfums de Marly as far as discounted pricing, where they're not really discounted all that much anymore. They're pretty much listed at retail or just a very little bit off of retail. And then every so often we get a sale event, and then now it's marked down. Don't know why that's happening and what's going on about that. So that really just means I just feature the clones more, I guess, because while $200 I think is a very fair price for Leighton, it's not always at that price. That's sale price. So when it's going for $300 and plus, get Detour Noir. As I mentioned, it's $20 for 100 ml, and it smells just, I mean, it's nearly identical. I'm never going to say something is, you know, completely 100%, because really that's almost impossible. I mean, there's always going to be quality differences or something, you know, some little tweak here and there, but this is probably about as close as it gets. There's also a Amber Oud exclusive blue, which is kind of a mystery because it's not actually haramain. That's a whole big thing that also is beyond me. I've got no clue. But that's a good one. It's more expensive, but for the price, man, the Detour Noir, please get it, you know, really do, because it's a great compliment puller. That just smells great, and great performance and quality out of this stuff too. Gentleman Eau de Toilette Intense is what we're gonna end this video on. It's got cardamom, cedarwood, and iris. It's fresh. Fresher than the Eau de Parfum, fresher than the Eau de Parfum Reserve Privé and Boisé. Not fresher than Gentleman EDT 2017, but you get the point. This one is simply in the middle. Using some of that iris, very common within the line and in general, but it's a fresher iris. Think more Prodalome themed. Doesn't smell like Prodalome, but you get the point. It's fresher iris versus all of the others in this line pretty much being a sweeter iris. Where Gentleman Eau de Parfum and Reserve Privé might be for evenings or cooler weather, this is more of your workday, school style scent, office scent, general daytime use type of scent is how I would look at it. And also pretty affordable. You know, $60 or so. Really nice, great compliment puller. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some great compliment pulling fragrances that just work plain and simple. I will link all these down below, and there's also gonna be where you can click on the screen and it says featured products in this video or whatever it says. So same thing there, same thing in the description, wherever you wanna do your shopping and price referencing. But I recommend doing it because otherwise you might be paying full retail, and why do that when you can avoid it, which you can avoid it with all of these. That's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.